Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a live recording of a 50-minute full body flexibility practice. I'm laying on 2 blocks today instead of my bolster, and then you're probably gonna want some cushions or at least options to have little cushions for your knees. So I'm just using 2 hand towels. Find some space to move though, and let's get started. Okay. We're gonna start laying down. So if you want to lay on some things, if you've got some cushions for your knees, you can have those off to the side for later. And then if you are laying on blocks like me, I'm going to do 2, one under the head, one under the back. But feel free to lay on your pillows or on nothing at all. So find your way down onto your back and make sure whatever you are laying on is in the perfect place. Feels good. Supporting you. You're resting your head on something, whether that's the ground or a prop of some kind. And same thing with your hips, your glutes. Make sure those areas of your body are connected to something. And you can bring your arms out wide. You can decide how you want your legs to be, maybe that diamond shape or something else. And finally, close your eyes if you haven't done so already. Just taking a slower breath in and out. If you need to move around a little bit, you can definitely do so. And if finding some stillness comes with ease today, maybe do that. Let your body soften and relax. And just slow everything down. And stay just a bit longer. You want to move at all or adjust? Maybe you'll bring your arms out wider or up above the head. Let's just take a slower breath again. A long, smooth inhale and exhale. Just one more chance to move. Maybe your hands will tuck under your head, or your fingers will tuck under your head, elbows pointing out to the sides, and just a slower, deeper breath. And you might leave your arms where they are, but you could start to move your legs until you've got your feet planted on the ground. And just feel the shoulders, your back pressing against whatever you've decided to lay on. And we'll slowly, slowly start to move the upper body. Your arms can come to your sides. If you're laying on some things, you can sit up just enough to take them out, move them off to the side. Lay flat on your back. Maybe hug your knees to your chest. Maybe a rock or a sway side to side. And just check in. How are you feeling today? Are there any areas of your body where you're feeling some extra love? And how is your breath? Does it come with ease, or maybe a little bit more challenge today? And then we are going to be coming all the way up onto our hands and knees. You can roll over or rock yourself forwards. Now we're going to be spending some time on our knees. So if you do want to add any sort of cushion under them, we're going to be moving our legs a little bit though. So you might have to move your cushions as well. Or maybe you don't need anything. But we are going to start in tabletop. If you only got one cushion, choose your right knee to be on top of it. Or you could roll your mat over. But we're in tabletop to start. Maybe a sway through the hips. And I'm just going to back up because I can already tell that Bo's going to be in the way. So we're going to be reaching the left arm forwards. We're going to stay on both of our knees to start. Our left arm's going to reach forwards and the right arm is sliding underneath the chest. You want to bring something under your arm, you can bring something under your arm. We're just trying to bring the right shoulder as close to the ground as we can get it. Same with the head. Maybe you're resting on your forehead, maybe you're resting on your right cheek or ear to kind of help you bring that right shoulder closer and closer to the ground. So take just another breath here. And then you can start to lift back up, just back to tabletop. So we're going to be doing this a few times and maybe making some different changes each time. Or maybe you'll kind of be doing the same thing a couple times. But just the idea is to get that right shoulder maybe a little closer to the ground, or maybe just a little bit more comfortable against the ground. But you can this time, if you do want to send the left leg out to the side, turn your toes to point forward. So you're pushing into that foot a little bit. And then maybe we can come down onto our forearms. You can skip the shoulder on this one if you want. If you want to just keep that leg out to the side and be on your forearms or your hands. Or we're going to reach the left arm in front again and the right arm coming under the chest. And just try to bring the right shoulder, the right cheek down. Get heavy. So again, take just another breath. And we will be lifting up and coming back all the way to tabletop. So hands and knees. And maybe taking a little bit of a sway. Okay, then we're going to stay on both knees and maybe we'll try to bring the right shoulder a little bit more to the left side, maybe as close to our left knee as we can get it. But same thing. The closer you get to that left knee, the more you'll start to feel your back, your twisting. So you can decide kind of how far you go, but we're just trying to bring the shoulder to the ground or as close to, as well as the right cheek. Your left hand, it can be more beside you, or it might walk forwards. You might even push into the fingertips. And maybe you're opening your chest a little bit more to the left. Maybe another breath or two here. And then you're lifting slowly again, all the way back to your table top. And maybe moving a little bit. Now our left leg, it can come back out to the side. So if you want to give that right arm a break, maybe you'll do the leg, stay on the hands, drop to the forearms if you want, or that right hand, that arm that's in sliding under our chest, we're going to try to walk it towards the left foot as much as we can. Maybe it actually holds the foot. Maybe it doesn't. But that would require you to move the right shoulder over towards the left side of the mat, like we were doing on our knees, and trying to lower down, lay down. And then what is that left hand going to do? It can stay beside you. It could walk forwards a bit. You can push into the fingertips a little bit to try to open the chest a little bit more to the left side. Nice work, you guys. Take another breath. And then lift yourself all the way back up to your tabletop again. Bring the leg in. Come on to the hands. Take a sway. And we're not quite done. We have one more thing that we can do. Or you can do any of the things we've already done. But just take your time. And then we will be done with our right shoulder. So left leg, you can stay on the knee. You can bring it out to the side again. So we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing, trying to bring the right shoulder to the ground, except this time it might kind of stay in the middle of the mat, the right side of the mat. You think about your right hand, it's actually going to be sliding underneath the belly and working its way towards your right foot, so the one that's behind you. So it might get a little bit weird, but you're just going to try to bring the shoulder down, bring the head down, and maybe just try to reach for your foot or your calf or your knee or nowhere at all. But if you are able to get the right arm down, the shoulder down, the head down, and that left hand is light and it wants to lift, you can keep it on the ground. You can lift it. It could find your left hip. It could find your right hip. And then maybe your right hand, the one that's working towards that right foot, maybe it lightly holds the leg, the foot. Maybe your fingertips, the left ones and the right ones, lightly touch each other behind your leg. And as you go a little further into this, you might notice that you're resting on the back of the head more than the cheek. As the chest opens to the left side, you're kind of twisting. We're going to take maybe another breath or two, or if you've just gotten to where you want to be and you want to stay a little longer, you can do that too. But if you've got that left hand lifted up in some way, move very slow as you bring it back to the ground. So we can gracefully find our way all the way into tabletop. And then we're going to take a nice long break before we switch to the other side. So you might be in tabletop for a few breaths. And then you might make your way into a child's pose. If you are happy with these cushions under your knees, keep them, move them. I want you to find a place where you can take a moment. You can rest your forehead down. You can sit on the heels if you'd rather, but a place where we can relax our shoulders, especially the right one, where we can relax the left leg as well. And just scan your body. Relax your body. Staying for a few more moments if you need to move at all. And so as we get ready to switch sides, now you know all of the options coming your way. You get a little bit, time might go a little slower now that you know. So set up, take breaks as you need, do the variations that you like, that your shoulder likes, and it's going to fly right by. Starting on tabletop, though, on our hands on our knees. Our right arm will be reaching forwards and the left will just be sliding right under the chest. Nothing fancy. Just come on down. See how this shoulder feels, arm. How close it's coming to the ground. Maybe you've got a pillow or something underneath it. Rest the head, the cheek, maybe. Stay for another breath. And then you can lift back to your tabletop. And maybe a little bit of a sway, some movement through the hips, maybe the shoulders. And then maybe we'll be bringing our right leg out to the side. Pushing into that foot a little. Maybe you skip the shoulder on this one. Maybe lower to your forearms. Or maybe you're going to bring the left arm under the chest again. And try to bring the left shoulder, cheek down. As low as they will go. Take another breath. And then you can slowly lift again. Back to the hands. Back to the knees. Take a moment to move a little bit if you'd like. And then we're going to stay on both the knees, and maybe the left shoulder will be trying to go to the right side a bit or towards the right knee a bit. And we can start to maybe twist a little bit more. But trying to bring the shoulder down, the cheek. And then maybe you'll push a little bit more into the right fingertip. Wherever that hand wants to be, where you feel the most supported with that right hand. Maybe feeling your back a bit more. You can go ahead and take another breath or two. And then slowly lifting again. And moving a little bit. And then maybe a chance to bring the right leg out to the side again. And if you want to skip the shoulder part, you can do that. Maybe with the right foot out to the side, you're going to try to reach for it with the left or get as close to it with the left hand as you can, but trying to drop the shoulder, the head. And we'll keep the right hand on the ground for this one, but maybe pushing into it a little bit. Stay for another breath, and then you can start to lift again. Back into your tabletop. And then just one more. One more. You can stay on your knees, or you can bring the right leg back out to the side. Left arm might be reaching for the left foot this time. So kind of sliding the arm under the belly, kind of under the hips, something like that. And then just trying to calm down the shoulder, the head. Maybe opening the chest to the right more. And if you do feel light through the right hand, it can lift, but just let it rest on a hip or a low back. Maybe go a little further as to maybe taking a peek up above you. So very slowly, bring your right hand to the ground if you do have it. Lift it. And then very slowly lift up and come back into your tabletop. And maybe give the hips a sway, the shoulders a sway. We are going to be finding child's pose again, though, and staying here for some time. So if you do want to be making some adjustments to the legs while we're here, you might want your cushions under your knees, and then you kind of have to maybe move them a little bit, but you might want them. But let's start. Big toes together, knees wide. If you'd rather take a moment seated or in tabletop, you can stay there a bit longer. But just notice how you're feeling. Left shoulder, right leg, everywhere else. So you might have your knees as wide as they can be already. I'm going to try to keep our big toes together to start. But maybe you can widen your knees a little bit or just keep them as wide as they are. Maybe you got to move your cushions under your knees. So big toes together and the knees as wide as they can be. And feel free to lift your chest up to maybe widen your knees more. And then you can keep the chest lifted, trying to bring the hips back towards your heels. Maybe you're able to come down onto your forearms. We're just trying to keep our knees nice and wide. So whether you want to be on the hands, maybe reaching forwards a little, maybe you've got a pillow or some blocks to place under your forearms, or maybe you're coming down. So wide kneed child's pose. Kind of, because our upper body might be lifted. So you can stay here with the big toes together. So our knees are nice and wide. They might even be able to go wider as we open the feet, but maybe they're as wide as our knees are gonna go. So we're just gonna start to open the toes, the big toes. You're gonna bring some space between them. And then kind of send your hips back towards your heels again. So I like to be on my forearms for this. You could be lifted higher. You could be lower than that. Forearms is kind of the sweet spot for me, where I can move my legs a little bit and still relax through my hips a bit. So knees wide, and maybe the big toes are starting to find some space between them. And then maybe you'll kind of shift your hips forwards a little bit to widen your feet a little bit more. And then as you send your hips back towards your feet, it should take you deeper. So we're just kind of going for that balance between kind of sending the hips forwards a bit to widen the knees, widen the feet, and then maybe send them back just a touch to really get into those hips. And we're just making our way into frog, as promised. So notice what your feet are doing. The wider they go, the more you might want to make the toes point out to the sides. Rest on the inner edges of the feet. If you've got some nice towels under your knees and you're on a soft or a kind of a smoother, harder surface, they might just slide a little on their own. If you're on something softer, the knees might get stuck in place. You might have to kind of shimmy a little bit, but whatever works. And maybe your big toes are still together. Okay, but if you want to just maybe bring the hips forwards a touch. Maybe the knees will widen. Maybe the feet will widen just a little bit. And then just kind of send the hips back. That movement's going to get very small. Hip forward, hip back. It's going to be micro. You won't be able to see it. But oh, you will feel it. We're just going to take a few more moments here. If you're feeling heavy through your upper body, maybe you have your pillow close by. Maybe you've got your block close by. If we can rest, whether it's your chest, your forehead, something, some part of your upper body to take some weight out of your arms, out of the shoulders, to get a little bit more comfortable as you can be in frog. Okay, just one last chance to maybe let the hips come forwards a touch and then back again. The goal is to just kind of have our knees, our hips in line with one another ish. Feeling the hips, the inner legs, everything, and relaxing the upper body as best we can. So you can decide to come out of this. Do you want to stay low and kind of slide forwards? Do you want to climb back up all the way to tabletop? I'm going for the belly. I'm sliding forwards. You can scoot your legs back together. Maybe you end up in tabletop. You can take a few breaths, whether you're on your tummy, whether you're in tabletop or somewhere else. Be still, or maybe some movement through the hips. And we are going to be finding our way to our backs, laying down. If you're not quite ready to go there, take your time. Maybe you can roll over. Maybe you've got to turn around. Find your way onto your back. And bend your knees and plant your feet on the ground. Now you might want to be still with the legs. You might want to sway a little bit. That was a pretty long frog, so just be gentle. Give the legs, the hips, everything a chance to reset. You are up for hugging your knees to your chest. You can do that too. You might feel the hips more. Just noticing the sensations flowing throughout your body. Especially through your hip, your shoulder, everywhere else. If you are hugging your knees, you can let them go. You can send the legs out long, your feet wide, maybe really wide. Try to relax through your leg. Rest your arms wherever is comfy. Just settling into Shavasana. You can slowly start to move maybe your fingers and toes, maybe your hips. You want to reach your arms above your head. Take a nice big stretch. Bend your knees so that you can roll over to one side. Find your way up to a comfy seat when you're ready. Maybe bring your hands together. Some nice length in the spine. Awesome practice, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. Namaste.